Hey friends, I recently did a close to my heart unboxing video where I got this amazing all-around creativity wreath kit. And today I'm here to show you how I'm going to put together my wreath. And it probably took me about 30 minutes from start to finish. It's a really simple kit to create with, and I'm so excited to have had my friends at Close to My Heart send this to me. So this is the insert that you get with your kit. So it shows you all of the different varieties that you can get in this kit. There's Stay a While, there's Be Kind, Create, Grateful, and you can find all of them in page 40 of the new January, February Close to My Heart catalog. So be sure to check that out from your local demonstrator or on their website. You can check out their catalog on their website. So this is the insert that has all of the instructions, everything you need. It also gives you some ideas on what you can do. So when you turn around to the back, you have all of the assembly instructions, and it makes it so simple and easy to put this together. I'm going to take everything off first because I've decided that I want to paint my wreath, and I have received the Create wreath, which I'm so excited about because it will be perfect in my studio. So I have this little plastic tray that you would usually use for embossing powder, but I use it for everything in my life, paint included. It's just an all-purpose little tray. And what I have here is the Martha Stewart acrylic paint, just in black. And I love this paint because it covers extremely well. I usually only have to do one coat when I paint with it. When you're painting this wreath, be sure that you get the sides and the bottom. So this is going to go over my workstation just above my computer monitor. So I wanted to be sure that I get underneath and on the top of all the letters, because if I'm sitting below it, I'm going to see it. And if I see that unfinished kind of burnished wood edge, it's going to make me kind of annoyed. So there's my finished painted wreath, and I'm going to set that aside to let it dry while I work on the instructions. So the first thing I'm going to do is punch out all of the die cuts. And you might think, oh my goodness, do I really want to punch out all of the die cuts first? Well, I think it makes the process go a lot quicker when you're putting the wreath together if you have all of your options already punched out and out on the table. And it is super quick, you guys. Close to My Heart is notorious for having really beautifully cut die cuts in their kits. So you don't have to work really hard at getting them out. You don't have to grab your scissors or craft knife. You just use your fingers and carefully punch those out. I like going from the back side a bit more. I find that it works a little bit better that way. And you also have to have a little bit of patience because some of these, the leaves can be a bit tricky. So there's the first sheet and second sheets done. There's a few more leaves on here. These leaves are really great because they're already scored as well. So you can get 3D leaves for your wreath, and you didn't have to do anything. You just punch them out and fold them. So I love that. I also love that the ribbon is ready to go. You don't have to find the perfect piece of ribbon in your stash. You're going to create a paper ribbon. And it also gives me a lot of great ideas on how I can create ribbons with paper in the future. So these are the big leaves. I'm just punching them out here. I love that there's all sorts of different green colors. There are two sheets of flowers, and they are clearly marked as to large flower or small flower. So the instructions say that you should start with the largest size in the flower first. So you want to keep all of the ones in that section together. And I've kind of stacked them up so that the biggest one is first. I'm kind of doing largest to smallest as I punch those out. Super duper easy. Just making sure that I don't get these mixed up here. I love that they're white too. If you want to make yours a different color than white, you can certainly use some ink spray and spray those babies a different color. You can use a sponge and ink the edges if you want to just do some subtle color. So what I'm going to do here is kind of fold some of these leaves and put together my flower. So I'm just using a liquid glue that I have on hand. I don't happen to have the Close to My Heart glue, so I'm using one from American Crafts that is a really quick drying glue that I love. And I am starting with the largest flower layer and moving up to the smallest. Now I want to add a little sparkle to the center, so I'm grabbing the I Heart Us sequins. I'm just going to show you close up here. You want to make sure that when you are layering your flowers, you kind of turn the petals so that they're not overlapping each other. And then you can fold those up to give them a more three-dimensional look. So I'm going to put a little I Heart Us sequin right in the middle, so that's 2 flowers. I think you get a total of 6 flowers in this kit, but for right now I've just decided to go ahead and put together 3, and then I can use the other 3 for another project. I mean, white flowers are always something that you can have on hand for anything. You can put them on a card, on a scrapbook layout, anything you'd like. So those are my flowers. Next I'm going to create my bow. This also has some super simple instructions. You start out with the angled pieces, and I'm grabbing some glue dots here because then I won't have to wait as long for that liquid adhesive to dry. So I really love using glue dots for this sort of thing, and they hold extremely well. You don't have to cut them with scissors like you do with red line tape, and it's just, super simple. These ones that I'm using here are by Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L, and they, instead of being on one big sheet, that kind of can get a little bit messed up, you have little squares that each have a glue dot on. So when you pull the bottom layer, a little square pops out of the side. So they're pretty cool. Next, I'm going to layer up the 3 pieces of the bow that I've already put together here. So the 2 angled go in the back and the straight one goes in the front, all using glue dots still. I love that this bow is black and white too. It is really super cute. The next step is I'm going to cover the center of those 3 pieces. So easy when you have all of this already cut for you. There we go. And then this is the tail of the bow. And I'm going to stick that on just on the top. Put another glue dot there just to make sure it really sticks down. Perfect. I was going to put the circle on the back, but I didn't think it needed it, so I'm just going to keep going here. Next, it's time to put together my wreath. So this is the exciting part, right? I'm going to cover the back of my wreath with adhesive, and I've gotten a little bit of a jam in my bottle, which happens from time to time. So I just grab a pin and get that jam out. And then I'm going to cover all over with adhesive. You don't want to put too much because you don't want it to come out onto that beautiful pattern paper. There are a few different pattern paper options here to choose from. I definitely went with the most colorful because the wall that I'm putting it on is mostly black and white images with pops of bold color. So I'm just going over a few of the bits there that looked like the adhesive was a bit too thick with my finger. And then I place it and just tap that in place. Look at how beautiful that black word just pops against the colorful background. I love it already. So this part is really up to you. I mean, this is where your creativity can go a little bit wild because you can decide where to put everything else. everything else. So I like to start with the larger layers first. So the larger leaves, and I'm constantly going to be switching colors. So I'm never going to put the same color on top of the one I just did because I think it makes it a lot more three-dimensional when you have those shadows, those different colors on top of one another. So I'm starting out on the bottom left here, and all I'm doing is just folding the leaves at those score lines that our friends at Close to My Heart have already done for us. I mean, they really do make creating so easy with all of the products that they offer to us, from scrapbook layout kits to card kits, things like that, album kits. I mean, they really make it so simple to customize. So I love, love, love to kind of mirror things. And so since I'm putting the first set of leaves on the bottom left, I'm going to go up to the top right to add some more leaves. So again, I'm starting with the larger leaves. I'm alternating colors as I go. And on this one, I'm going to put that big white flower, the largest one I have, at the apex where the T meets the circle. The detail in these leaves is really beautiful too. It's hard to tell, but you can see the little veins in the leaves are kind of lighter and it makes them really three-dimensional and stand out. Paper flowers and leaves are such a big popular thing right now. I've received a couple from really good friends, a couple of bouquets of paper flowers, and I just love them because you don't have to worry about them dying. I'm not a massive fan of when fresh flowers go off. So I'm just going to add another kind of section of leaves to the top of the one I started here. Kind of a spray, I guess you would call it, a spray of leaves. And just seeing what other colors I can fit in here. It's really, really coming together, and it's just amazing how quick and simple it is. Now I am using the liquid adhesive to add the leaves first. And then what I'm going to do when I have everything exactly where I want it is I'm going to go back in with some glue dots to make sure things stay in place. Now, the great thing about these leaves is that they are three-dimensional, and that they do have all that dimension that you don't want to press down. So I'm only going to add those glue dots in certain places so that I can be sure my leaves don't move really. I love these little light green ones. They add so much. My fingers are definitely getting super sticky now, but I'm still going because I think I can add a few leaves on here. So my leaves are in place, and I am placing the other elements on here with some dimensional adhesive. So I just added that flower with dimensional adhesive, and then I realized that I needed to move it slightly up a bit because I needed to get my bow in place. So be sure that you have everything that you want in its place before you actually pull out some permanent adhesive. I'm going to add a little bit more to this section, but I'm noticing here that my bow seems really, really long. So I'm wondering if I did this step wrong, but I didn't. So what I'm going to do is try to either fold this down or actually cut the tail of my bow. I'm just going to cut it off because it's hanging down too far from where it's placed right now. So no big deal, I can just like pop it right back together. I just kind of cut about an inch off of my bow just to make that a little bit shorter. And I'm going to use dimensional adhesive there. This one is Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. It holds extremely well, and so I know that baby is not going to move anywhere. And once I have my bow in place, I notice I can fit another little leaf just behind it, tucked in there. I really like the way that looks. The second flower is going to go right on the side down here. And again, just grabbing a little piece of dimensional adhesive to stick it on to the outside of the frame. And then my big flower is going to get stuck on just up here. So you definitely want to put the leaves on before the flowers. And then once you have your flowers on, you want to fluff them a little bit. Fluff up those layers to make them really look three-dimensional. So super easy. Okay, this is when I'm going to take out the glue dots just to make sure that my leaf layers are going to stay in place. I don't want to lose any of that beautiful dimension that I have, so we don't want to add a glue dot to every leaf on here. We just want to make sure that they're not going to move. Especially if you have this on a door, you want to make sure that those layers are going to stay in place exactly where you wanted them to go. I just love all of these pretty little leaves sticking out everywhere, and it's much more organic when they're all facing different directions, just like a normal wreath would be. There we go. So that is my finished wreath, and I just love the way that it looks. And I also love the way that it looks on my studio wall. So I have a big wall of some of my favorite images, photos I've taken, photos of my daughter, and photos of my favorite places. And it really stands out against this wall, and it looks so great with that black paint added. It really makes it pop against my cream colored wall. I'm so happy about the way that it turned out, and I hope you guys will check out this amazing kit from my friends at Close to My Heart. Be sure to take a look at the link in my video notes so that you can create your own gorgeous wreath in just a matter of minutes. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you'll follow my feed, and happy creating.